In May 2023, a fresh set of documents emerged connected to a civil lawsuit concerning the late financier Jeffrey Epstein. Among the thousands of pages made public, one of the most prominent technology figures in the world, Bill Gates, was mentioned. Gates, the co-founder of Microsoft and a highly influential philanthropist, has been linked to Epstein in various media reports over the years. When these new documents were released, Gates issued a public statement categorically denying certain claims as false. But what exactly do these materials reveal? What has been confirmed through official channels, and what remains unverified or alleged? This analysis focuses on a factual examination of the timeline, documented evidence, and responses from the parties involved. The goal is to distinguish what is established from what is merely claimed while exploring why the topic continues to draw public attention. Before proceeding, it is important to clarify the scope of this review. Jeffrey Epstein was a financier who died in federal custody in August 2019 while awaiting trial on charges of sex trafficking. His associations with powerful figures across business, politics, and entertainment have been subject to extensive legal proceedings, investigative journalism, and public scrutiny. Bill Gates has acknowledged meeting with Epstein on multiple occasions. The nature and scope of their interactions have been documented through court filings, investigative reporting, and public statements. Our focus here is straightforward. What do the May 2023 documents reveal? How has Gates responded, and what can be verified through publicly available records? There will be no speculation, and allegations will not be treated as proven facts. The aim is to provide a clear chronological account based on what is publicly confirmed. To understand the significance of the 2023 documents, context regarding Jeffrey Epstein is necessary. Epstein was a financier operating primarily in New York and Palm Beach, who cultivated relationships with affluent and influential individuals across multiple sectors. For years, he presented himself as a philanthropist and investor, with connections in academia, science, and global policy. In 2008, Epstein pleaded guilty in Florida to charges of solicitation of prostitution involving a minor and served 13 months in county jail under a highly controversial plea deal, widely criticized for its leniency. In July 2019, Epstein was arrested again, this time on federal charges related to sex trafficking of minors. Prosecutors alleged that between 2002 and 2005, Epstein ran a trafficking operation involving numerous underage girls. He died in his cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Manhattan on August 10, 2019. The New York City medical examiner ruled the death a suicide by hanging. Following Epstein's death, multiple civil lawsuits were filed by alleged victims. One such case, brought by Virginia Giuffre against Epstein's longtime associate Ghislaine Maxwell, led to the release of thousands of pages of documents over several years, within which references to Bill Gates appeared. What is officially confirmed regarding Gates and Epstein? According to public statements and reporting from outlets including the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, Gates first met Epstein in 2011, after Epstein's 2008 conviction. Gates has stated that these meetings were primarily focused on philanthropic initiatives, specifically exploring potential collaborations on global health projects and charitable giving. In a 2019 statement to the Wall Street Journal, a Gates spokesperson said, "Bill Gates regrets ever meeting with Epstein and recognizes it was an error in judgment to do so." The New York Times reported that Gates met Epstein multiple times between 2011 and 2014, with meetings taking place at Epstein's Manhattan townhouse, and that Gates flew on Epstein's private jet at least once. In 2021, Bill and Melinda French Gates announced their divorce. In subsequent interviews, Melinda French Gates indicated that Bill's interactions with Epstein were a concern for her, telling CBS Mornings in 2022, "I did not like that he had meetings with Jeffrey Epstein. I made that clear to him." Gates addressed the meetings in a 2021 CNN interview with Anderson Cooper, saying, "I had several dinners with him, hoping that what he claimed about securing billions in philanthropy for global health through his contacts might materialize. When it became clear that this was not real, the relationship ended." This timeline reflects the publicly acknowledged interactions, as stated by Gates and reported by reputable media. In May 2023, a new batch of documents was unsealed as part of ongoing civil litigation concerning Epstein's estate and lawsuits filed by alleged victims. These materials included emails, flight logs, deposition excerpts, and correspondence involving multiple individuals associated with Epstein. Within these documents, references to Bill Gates appeared, including emails mentioning his name, notes of meetings and correspondence, and allegations from deposition statements. Importantly, these documents are part of civil litigation, not criminal charges. They contain testimony, claims, and assertions from various parties, but do not constitute judicial findings of fact. Some of the documents contain statements regarding the nature of Gates's interactions with Epstein, which were subsequently reported by various media outlets, often with sensationalized framing. It is essential to recognize that the presence of an allegation in a legal document does not equate to a verified fact. Civil depositions frequently include statements that have not been independently confirmed, and these must be distinguished from evidence that has been examined and substantiated through official legal processes. Shortly after the May 2023 documents became public, Gates issued a statement through his representatives. In this statement, he categorically rejected certain claims as false. While he did not address every specific allegation, he emphasized that portrayals of his relationship with Epstein were misleading and inaccurate. Gates reiterated that his interactions with Epstein were confined to discussions on philanthropy, expressed regret for those meetings, and clarified that the association ended once it became apparent that Epstein's promises regarding charitable funding would not be realized. Gates's legal team also noted that he has cooperated with inquiries and has been transparent about the meetings that took place. No criminal charges have been filed against Gates in relation to Epstein, and no court has determined him guilty of any misconduct. It is important to state this unequivocally. Allegations exist, but they remain unproven in a court of law. Following the release of the 2023 documents, various claims circulated in the media and online discussions. These included assertions about the frequency and nature of Gates's meetings with Epstein, claims suggesting purposes beyond philanthropy, and statements from deposition testimony that have not been independently verified. Such claims fall squarely into the category of allegations. They are not corroborated by criminal convictions, judicial findings, or conclusive evidence presented in legal proceedings. From both journalistic and legal perspectives, an allegation represents a claim that has been made but not proven. It may be true, false, or more nuanced than stated. Without verification, it remains unproven. This is not a defense of any individual, but rather a principle of accurate reporting. We must distinguish between what is alleged and what is confirmed. Public figures are frequently subject to rumors, speculation, and accusations, some grounded in fact, and others not. Our responsibility is to evaluate what evidence exists. In the case of Bill Gates and the 2023 Epstein documents, the verified facts are as follows. Gates met with Epstein on multiple occasions after Epstein's 2008 conviction. He has stated these meetings were focused on philanthropy. He has expressed regret regarding the meetings, and no criminal charges have been filed against him. Everything beyond that remains allegation or conjecture. Why does this topic continue to draw attention? First, Epstein's crimes were grave and profoundly disturbing. The trafficking and abuse of minors represents one of the most serious offenses, and the public has a legitimate interest in understanding who was associated with him and in what capacity. Second, Gates is a globally prominent figure in business and philanthropy, making his actions and connections of public interest, particularly given his influence in areas such as public health, education, and technology. Third, the release of court documents provides rare insight into the private interactions of highly influential individuals. While public scrutiny is warranted, it must be balanced by a commitment to accuracy. Sensationalism, speculation, and conflating allegations with verified facts do not serve the public interest, can damage reputations unfairly, and erode trust in legitimate reporting. The questions prompted by the 2023 documents are important, but addressing them requires careful attention to evidence rather than assumptions. To summarize what is established, Bill Gates met with Jeffrey Epstein several times between 2011 and 2014 after Epstein's 2008 conviction. Gates has stated that these meetings concerned philanthropy and has publicly expressed regret for engaging with Epstein. In May 2023, documents were released in civil litigation containing references to Gates, some of which included allegations. Gates rejected certain claims as false. No criminal charges have been filed against him, and no court has found him guilty of wrongdoing related to Epstein. Remaining questions include why Gates met with Epstein after the conviction, what was actually discussed, and whether there were motivations beyond philanthropy. These are valid questions, but they are inquiries, not conclusions. The documentary record provides partial insight, but gaps remain. And in the absence of verified evidence, speculation should be avoided. Public discourse on accountability among influential individuals is critical, but must be rooted in factual information. The intersection of wealth, power, and serious criminal conduct raises important issues of transparency, responsibility, and ethical conduct. As additional documents related to Epstein continue to emerge, it is vital to analyze them critically, separate fact from allegation, and maintain commitment to truth. Bill Gates has responded to the claims, and legal processes continue in various forms. The public will continue to pose questions, and it is essential that these inquiries are pursued rigorously and responsibly. This video is intended solely for educational and informational purposes. All content is drawn from publicly available court records and reputable news sources, and no unverified claims or allegations are presented as facts.